Now, when we rock up to a race, we probably have a target race pace or power in mind, and that's all very well if it's perfectly flat with zero wind. But unless we're racing indoors or on a velodrome perhaps, then it's probably unlikely that is actually going to be the case.
Exactly. Well, one of the factors that you obviously do need to consider when you're thinking about your pacing is the wind. And if it's a headwind, the question is, do you want to ride harder into it or should you actually back off a bit? Do you want to get more aerodynamic? Should you up your cadence or should you lower it?
Yeah, well, we have come to the perfect location for this because we're out in Kona, Hawaii, ahead of the Ironman World Championships, an infamously windy course. And thanks to our partners Quarq with their power meters, today we're going to be analysing our power and talking you through those changes that we should make in our power and how to make the most out of those pesky headwinds. Well, riding into a headwind can be one of the most demoralising things ever, and I bet some of you have even wondered whether your brakes are rubbing. I've certainly experienced that a few times over the years.
Yeah, I've definitely been there, but what about that feeling when you have the headwind and then you're waiting for the tailwind home and it just never materialises? Well, I can moan about the wind and that situation all day, but when it comes to a race, well, you can't actually change it, so it's best that you learn how to ride into a headwind.
So to help me explain this today, we need to do a little math. And quite simply, we're hoping to show you the effects of a headwind on our speed and how we can make ourselves faster into it.
Now, we are going to be doing a 1 kilometre time trial on part of the road behind us, nice and flat. I'm going to be trying to ride at 300 watts, whilst Heather is going to be riding at 200 watts. For this, we need to refer to a very popular online bike calculator that I've used a lot in the past, and kindly some chap has made a very detailed spreadsheet, but we all love that. So all we need to do is input our rider weight, bike weight, the temperature, all these bits of information, and it's come back with a speed of 38.6 kilometers per hour for myself, meaning that I'll complete the 1 kilometer in 1 minute and 37 seconds on the hoods.
Well, for me, it calculates it at 32 kilometers per hour and a time of 1 minute 52 seconds. But that is obviously with 0 miles per hour or kilometers per hour of wind. And as you can see, we're in Hawaii, and of course there's some wind. Apparently today it's about 13 kilometers per hour, and it's coming from a northwesterly direction. So I think it's about time we went and put this into the test in a real life situation and find out what we get.
Okay, well now I'm going to do 300 watts on the hoods in real life with the headwind.
Yeah, I've got my 200. I think I'm going to let you go first though, Mark.
Okay, well here we go.
Good luck.
You might be wondering why we're starting on the hoods. Well, we're using this position as a control run that we can then use to compare with a more aero position in a moment. But right now, I better get going and follow Mark up the road.
Well, there we go, first run done on the hoods, and I was ever so slightly slower than that predicted time with 0 wind. I actually came in with a time of 1 minute and 40 seconds, which isn't quite as much as I expected it to be, and actually it felt quite hard, but I think there was that like draft effect considering we are on a highway with the lorries flying past, so I think if you took that away we would probably be a little bit slower.
Yeah, well I was 6 seconds slower, so I came in a time of 1:58, but I really did once or twice feel that like lovely surge that you get, which is kind of affecting our experiment a little bit here.
Yeah, but like I said, it did feel hard, but this is where aerodynamics really comes into play, where we're trying to improve and reduce our frontal area. So now I think it's time that we got into our usual aero positions on these aero bars and see what difference it makes.
Yeah, right, when you're ready, Mark.
Ready.
I'll chase you down.
Let's go.
Okay, this is our more comfortable position, as Mark mentioned, so I'm quite looking forward to being like this, but a little bit concerned about these lorries coming past. But anyway, I don't think I'm going to catch him, so I better go. Well, it comes as no surprise that we were both significantly faster on the aero bars. I was actually 14 seconds quicker, and that was without quite as many lorries helping me as well.
Yeah, I think it is point proven there. The headwind had a massive impact on our speed and our overall times. I was actually around 10 seconds quicker there being in the aero bar. So aerodynamic clearly plays a very big part in our speed and trying to cut through the wind. But say you already do have a good position and you're holding that on race day, you turn a corner into a headwind. Well, this is where the big question arises. Should you actually be pushing harder when it's easier, when you've got a tailwind, or should you be pushing harder when the going gets tough when you've got a headwind?
Okay, we could go into some complicated science right now, but we're going to stick to the facts that have been successfully tried and tested already by the pros. It was actually Graham O'Brien, the former 1-hour record holder, who previously stated that it's not the person that goes the fastest that wins, it's the person who slows down the least that wins.
In other words, it's really important as triathletes to maintain or keep our average speed up throughout our ride rather than peaking for some sections and then stalling for others. And if you think about it, when we are riding into headwinds, obviously we're going slower, and that then takes up a larger proportion of our overall time on the bike. So if we can increase just by a fraction our speed on that part of the ride when we're going into the headwinds, we're actually increasing our pace for a large proportion of the race.
So yes, this does mean you're going to have to increase your power a little bit. And as triathletes, you do need to remember you've still got the rest of the bike and the run to come. So there's no point in putting in surges at 100 watts or so more just so you can maintain that pace into the headwind, because you'll find it'll come back to bite you later on.
Yeah, instead we should aim to ride well and somewhat evenly. Now, this does obviously mean that we do need to increase our power, as you've mentioned, but it's really important that we do keep a cap on that. So I normally suggest somewhere around 10 to 15 watts higher, and that you need to make sure you're monitoring on your computer as you're going, because if you do allow it to go any higher than this, then you are starting to burn valuable matches that could start to impact you later in the race.
And I know I'm guilty of this one, and a lot of you will be. It's dropping your cadence when you're riding into that headwind.
Yeah, I can join that club too, and I think it's because it sort of feels quite good, because it's starting to have less effect on our heart and our lungs, and by lowering the cadence, well, I guess we're not out of breath, our heart rate's not through the roof, but actually what's happening is we're almost like doing squats in the gym continually, like we're lifting a heavy weight, and it becomes quite taxing on the muscles, particularly the quads, which again is really not great prep for coming off the bike and then heading onto the run.
Yeah, well, the ideal sort of thought of average cadence, I suppose, for a time trialist would be 80 to 100 RPM. And it is okay to drop that slightly when you're riding into a headwind, say 5 to 10 RPM. But if you start to drop any more, you do actually need to be dropping down your gears to compensate. So just like you would be when you're riding up a hill, you want to try and keep your cadence above 80 RPM, you just need to drop down the gears. And don't be embarrassed to go out of the big ring into the small chain ring, because you're going to be the one laughing in the long run, because your legs will stay fresher.
Yeah, and as with the power, it's really important to continually monitor our cadence. Obviously, we're all aiming to be really dialed into our cadence, and we're in tune with that ideal cadence for ourselves. But when we are riding into a headwind, as we've mentioned, it's very easy to slip out of that rhythm. But fortunately, most power meters do pick up our cadence, and they feed that to our computers or our head units so that we can continually, throughout the ride, monitor that cadence and make sure that we're on the right numbers.
So to sum it all up, you want to get more aero, you want to ride a little bit harder into those headwinds so you can maintain your speed, and you want to keep your cadence high.
Yeah, I mean, this is a topic we could get even more technical on. So if it is something that you're interested in, or perhaps you have your own thoughts on it or experience in it, then please do drop those in the comments section below. But if you like this video, hit that thumbs up button, and if you'd like to see more from GTN, just click on the globe and subscribe.
And if you want to get more powerful on the bike, we've made a video with 3 exercises to help you find that extra power just here.
And if you'd like to see our what is FTP, functional threshold power, and how to do an FTP test, then just click down here.